Welcome back to the den, guys. Suppose you're wondering what all this stuff is. Well, stick with me and we'll go over what it is and what it means. Okay, welcome back, guys. So I'm going to do this in a couple little sections, but this basically covers most of the 10 C's of survival. The only thing I don't have yet is a cloth needle. I don't have one right now. But this is basically an assortment of everything you need to be able to survive this situation. So let me clear all of this off and we'll do it section by section. Alright, so now we got all of that cleared off. Let's start with cutting. Okay, everybody knows that having a machete or a knife is important when you're in the woods. So I really wouldn't take anything like this. This is a little fancy for survival, but I mean, if this is all you've got, something like this, make sure it's sharp. Make sure it's always ready to go, but if that's all you've got, then that's what you got. I mean, it's not going to be ideal, but if it comes down to having this or nothing at all, this will work. A good machete allows you to chop down small branches, small trees as needed. If you circle around a tree, with a good machete, you can actually take down something about that big around. It'll take you a while, but you can do it. A good solid bushcraft knife, though, is what's preferred. Something that's full tang, very nice thick blade, and make sure it's sharp. Last thing you need is a dull knife. Looks like I need to clean that. That's sharp. And you want a full tang. I said that already, but something that's full tang so you don't have to worry about the knife bending or breaking. Put this back inside the sheath real quick. If all you've got is something little like this guy here, this will work. Well, it's not as thick, it's not as big. You're not going to be able to baton as much, but you will be able to cut. And you can do feather sticking or making a spear point for fishing if needed. A regular hunting knife will also work. And yes, this is the one that's in the giveaway. I just thought I'd use it real quick before it's gone. But whatever knife you decide to pick, be it something like this, or one of the other ones, make sure it's full tang. This isn't full tang, so I mean, this, I wouldn't recommend this as a an only one. I'd want this as a secondary one. That's just me. You should also have a pocket knife of some sort, a good sharp pocket knife that sharp enough to shave with. And this leads to another part which I'll go over when I get to it. This is a selection of knives. If I have this with my everyday carry, and it sits sits next to my get home bag, which sits next to my 3-day pack, which sits next to my hunting bag or camping bag, which this also sits in, and this is inside the hunting bag, camping bag. So I also carry one of these 3 with me at all times. But even if all you got is a little teeny cheap one, a plastic handle, as long as it's sharp, got a good 90-degree spine on it, that'll work for you. Let me clear this off and we'll go into the next part, combustion. And voila, here we are. Now we're at combustion. And the reason I say getting a good sharp knife, something that's got a good 90-degree spine on it, is so you can either leave it closed or you can have it open to get a little bit more leverage on it. And then you can take and catch my house on fire. But that way you can get a good nice spark off a ferro rod, and for doing something like a magnesium rod, I would suggest using it closed so you can sit there and get some nice good curls. And of course, then you can take and hit it with the flint and get yourself a good spark that way. Also for combustion, I would always carry a lighter or matches. I have several lighters in each one of my bags, so I don't carry matches. You should also have some sort of tinder. You can carry fat wood, either red or white cedar, pine, red or white pine. Red pine is usually better than white, but if you get white, this is white pine right here. If you get white, and you can see the resin here, it'll work just as good. Doesn't burn as long, or take it back, it doesn't burn as hot, but it burns as long. Red pine actually burns just a little bit hotter than the white. Or you can have some homemade tinder like this. These are wax pads, or cotton pads covered in wax. These are my special mix. I have a special additive inside, which causes these to burn hotter and longer than a standard one like it, or Vaseline covered cotton ball, which is another way you can do it. Take cotton balls, cover them in Vaseline, chapstick, hand sanitizer, fluff them out after you get them soaked, fluff it out in either with a lighter or a ferro rod, magnesium rod, and get yourself a fire going. Now that we've got, let's see, cutting and combustion, let's go to cordage. Okay, now on to cordage. Most people carry or have with them or on them or near them a paracord bracelet. And depending on how big your wrists are, depends on how big they are. This is 8 foot. I would recommend carrying at least 25 to 30 foot of something. That's just me personally. That way it gives you room to set up a line for clothing to dry off if need be, as well as making your shelter. This is hemp cord. There's about 65-70 foot here. This is fire tinder paracord. Paracord from UST. There's 30 foot in this little bundle, so I mean you could get quite a bit in a little teeny spot. The nice thing about something like this one is it's got tinder right on the inside. Now there are other companies that have it with a strand of copper wire in it, a strand of fishing line. If you have access to that, that'd be a great one to get. Get at least 30 foot, that's just my personal opinion. And this is what 100 foot looks like. This is a 100 foot chunk of regular paracord. China paracord. It's not as durable as the good stuff, which is right here. And even though they look similar, the feel is totally different. This is good old-fashioned American paracord. This is China paracord. Both function, both work well, but the feel is definitely different. This feels sturdier than this does. But in a pinch, this will work just as good as this does. Now that we've got cordage done, let's go to cover. Okay, cover. So you can do cover as little as a Mylar blanket. I recommend you get the bigger ones, or you can get the emergency ones, which are orange on one side, silver on the other. Usually thicker, a lot more durable than just a standard Mylar. You could go with an emergency poncho. You can create cover with that, or you can have yourself a good old-fashioned tarp. A 7 by 9, 9 by 12, something in that range would be great. Or if you have advanced enough knowledge that you need to split, you can take yourself a tent. Now a tent's not something you're going to be carrying around very much. It's one of those things, if you know you're going to have to go, you know you need to survive while you're gone, then you can take a tent with you. Not everybody's going to have a tent right next to their hands though when they go to take off. Something else that works great is garbage bags, contractor bags, big huge 50-gallon contractor bags. You can open them up and put a hole through the top and through the corners and make a poncho out of it. or you can take and cut the seams off the sides, open it up, and you can make yourself a regular cover. Now that we've got covering done, let's go to container. Okay, here's container. Now, for the 10C's survival, I've actually added something different, but for a container, I would recommend something similar to this. One of the Pathfinder sets, be it the small one, which have a bag this fits into. They have a round one that's similar to this in design. It's got a little stove area, plus it's got your container, so you can boil water. A canteen of some sort, be it something like this or a regular military style canteen. I recommend getting the stainless or aluminum one so you can boil water in it. And something to add to it, and if you're using something like this, it's pretty easy to hide most of it. You could stick that in there. Some water purification tablets and some way of filtering the water. Be it a Sawyer or a Life Straw, something like one of those, to allow you to filter dirty water straight from a pond or something, provided it's a running stream, relatively quick running stream. You don't want to grab anything that's stagnant. If the water's not moving, and you can see where the water has dried up in this little hole for a while, chances are you're going to have to boil the water first before you can put it in the container and then drink it. That's the beauty of having something like a Sawyer. This will screw onto a regular 20-ounce bottle or a 1-liter bottle. So I mean, that gives you a little bit more options than the Life Straw does, but the Life Straw is still a decent option. And both are highly recommended, as well as having yourself some sort of water purification tablets in case you have to boil some water. Now that we got those 5 done, let's move on to the next 5. Okay, I figured I'd hit the last couple on one shot rather than save us all some time. Next one is cloth. Be it a terry cloth, something like this, bandana, or some of these dehydrated towels. Cloth you can use to filter water, wash with, dry your face, dry the sweat off. It can be used for signaling, something like this. Could be, hello, help. So there's a lot of uses for cloth, but you definitely want some cloth. Something I've added or suggest, and this is just me personally, is some drink mixes to go into said water once it's purified and boiled. Let it cool down, add some drink mix to it. It makes the water more palatable. If you're like me, I like green tea and I like peach and mango. So I got the green tea, peach, mango. Green tea has medicinal purposes, as well as gives you a slight energy boost. They say it helps you clear your mind, although I've never really thought about that much personally. Something else I would add to your kit would be some gloves for having to do woodwork or some kind of work. Handy wipes of any kind, be it a big bag like this or a small one. Just some handy wipes. Wash your hands real quick. Wash your face off, or if you have to use the restroom, those work great too if you have nothing else. Excuse me. Next, some sort of duct tape, cargo tape. Now, it doesn't have to be duct tape per se, even this cheap stuff, which as you can see doesn't say duct tape. Get a roll, squash it, put some Ranger bands or something around it to keep it flat if you need to. But some sort of cargo tape can be used to repair. If you got to use your Mylar blanket, there it is. You got to use your Mylar blanket to make a cover, and a stick pokes it, you can use some cargo tape to fix it. As well as you can use cargo tape around your shoes should you have a shoe blowout. Next item would be some sort of lighting candle. I wear a ball cap, so I've got a nice little flashlight here that's red as well as white. A cheap little solar powered like this, you can usually pick them up for about $1. It's solar powered, just hanging off on your jacket or something. so it catches the sun constantly and stays fully charged. I also carry one of these Cree Ultra Fire 5s. They're great little flashlights. They can use a single double A or a rechargeable 3.6 volt 3.6 volt battery. I keep a rechargeable in here myself. If you're going to use a flashlight that takes batteries, I would also recommend taking, I just realized that's plenty of you guys, sorry. But I would also carry a battery for each style that you're, and one extra battery should be sufficient. Most of these will run 20 hours and you're not going to leave your light on for 20 straight hours, so one extra battery should be good, as well as a solar powered one. Now let's see, next is compass. There were some questions as to whether this actually worked in one of my other videos, and as you can see, it's a little slow. Put it up here where you guys can see it. It does. Lights don't get too close to it, but. And no, I didn't reset the time. And as you can see, it's got temp right there. Yes, it's warm in here, but you know, it's got the directions, the degrees. It's got clock. It's got temperature on it. Great little multi-use item. It has an alarm on it. But a compass for navigating is a must. Something else I would add to your kit, considering they're relatively tiny. This one has a light that when it wants to work, it'll work, but right now it doesn't want to. And I don't care. The only reason I'm still carrying this is for the whistle itself. Whistle you could use for signaling. You know, if you hear people and you're in need of rescue, a couple blasts on a whistle could be the difference between rescue or no rescue. Something else is something small like this, or you know, if you can get a Pathfinder canteen that's got one built in, some sort of small little stove, so you can boil water on, and a small piece of aluminum foil, which could also be used to signal. If you're out and you're out there in a while and you've had to catch a fish, you can actually use this to lay this over the bed of coals and cook your fish on here instead of putting them in the coals and doing it that way. One last thing I would recommend is if you've got a phone, which most people do, carry a solar powered charger of at least enough juice to recharge your phone one full time, and an appropriate cord for it as well. Even if you don't have service where you're at, most phones have a compass built in, so if this one fails, you've got this one. Most places, if you dial 911, even if you don't have, even if it's not turned on to a service provider, even if it's just a spare backup, which this is because it's, as you can see, it's broke. But you can always turn it on and dial 911 for emergency. Plus, iPhones have compasses built in. Android, you can download a good compass. I mean, there's reasons that you want to keep these charged, so you definitely want a decent charger, and might as well get one that's got a light to it. And, so that's just my take on the 10Cs of survival. Like I said, the only thing I don't have that Dave recommends, Dave Canterbury, is a cloth needle. And I just actually haven't looked for one yet, although that is on my list of many, many, many things to procure over the next few millennia. But I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, leave them down there. I answer my questions as fast as I get them, for the most part, unless of course you do it while I'm asleep. Then y'all just going to have to wait till morning. But that's just my take. You know, I might be wrong on a few things, or might need to change a few things, and that's why, you know, we're a community. We discuss these things, and if one person has a suggestion that actually works better, then, you know, let's get it out there and discuss it and be adults about it. So, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button that's going to be over there shortly. It's going to throw another video over here soon to go back to the giveaway. Make sure you enter the giveaway, type something in, like the video. I'd like it if you shared it, but you know, thanks to YouTube's new policies, you can't really tell anymore when people share your videos unless they tag you on like Twitter. So thanks, YouTube. But anyway, that's my take. Hope you liked the video. Remember, keep them loaded, keep them safe. Peace.